President then and Wawa, oh, excuse me, I'm sorry, Barbara Walters, I'm sorry, sit down for a little one-on-one here after all this mushy family stuff. And Barbara Walters gives just a great setup question. I mean, just praises the president. Your supporters, Mr. President, say you saved the banks. You saved us from the Great Depression. Oh, you saved the auto industry. You cut taxes, which you didn't do. Why are you so unpopular? Listen to this exchange.
Mr. President, your supporters say that you saved the banking industry from collapse. You saved the automobile industry. You cut taxes for the middle class. If you did all of these things, why are you so unpopular?
Well, first of all, Barbara, I'm not so...
First I gave you the compliment.
I
Did you
appreciate
notice?
that.
Okay.
Well, first of all, I'm not so unpopular. I mean, my poll numbers are a little higher than Bill Clinton's were at this point in the presidency, or Ronald Reagan's were at this point in his presidency. And, we've gone through a really tough time. And so no matter how much good stuff we've done, people still are looking at 9.6% unemployment, and that's frustrating for people. I don't make any excuses.
Oh, yeah, tough times, tough times. Sounded like George Bush Sr. there. Well, I understand, I care. But again, you can sit there and make these excuses, and I've said this before. Richard Nixon inherited the Vietnam War from Lyndon Johnson. At some point, it became his problem. Ronald Reagan inherited a recession from Jimmy Carter. At some point, it was his responsibility. So this whole talking point that, well, things were rough out there, and we saved us from the Great Depression. I don't think anyone who's been looking for a job for a year or two is comforted by that. And the unemployment was 7.3% when you took office, sir. It is 9.6 now. It's not a great record to run on. Next, Ms. Walters asks if there will be any changes with the new Congress coming in. You get a change on anything, Mr. President? Watch this.
Will you make specific changes in your policies or your personality, I guess is what I'm getting at? Will there be changes?
Well, first of all, I think that no matter what happened in the election, the first 2 years were all about saving the economy from a crisis, and we've done that. The economy is now stabilized. Our focus now has to be on issues like education, issues like investing in research and development, issues like infrastructure development. So my hope is that the new Republican leadership, those who are coming in, that they welcome the opportunity to work together with me and other Democrats to focus on solving the country's problems instead of focusing on politics. And I'm confident that we're going to be able to do that.
Well, that's interesting. The last 2 years were about saving the economy. Well, you've done one bad job of it, Mr. President. Like I said, if unemployment's up 2.5% since you took office, you haven't saved the economy. And this last 2 years was not about saving the economy. It was about pushing through as much liberal stuff in 2 years as you could push through. Whether that's health care, stimulus, throwing money at education so you can hire more union workers. That's what this 2 years is about. That's what this lame duck session is about. Get as much in there as you can before those evil Republicans take over. We got to pass Don't Ask, Don't Tell in 3 weeks. Well, you've had 4 years, Democratic Congress, to do that. You've had your chance. When the president talks about, the investment in education, the investment in infrastructure, which is the Democrats' big tag word. It's funny. Talk about infrastructure here in Minnesota. We've got Democrats in the legislature who go to talk about how bridges are going to fall down. We're all going to die. The roads are just horrible. Yet we find the money to build light rail somehow. Again, it's just they don't want to make hard decisions. That's what it's all about. Now, this next question here has become a tagline for the mainstream media. Barbara Walters again asks another leading question, and I'll play it for you, but talking about how Republicans' main goal is to make sure Obama's defeated. Yes, gotta get him out of there. Where will the Republicans compromise? Of course, the Republicans won. They don't have to compromise. Here's this exchange. Listen to this crap.
Mr. President, the Republicans, many of them have said that what they want most is to make sure you only have one term. So what areas do you think they're going to be willing to compromise?
Well, we've actually taken a whole series of steps to reform the education system that are unprecedented and have gotten compliments from Republicans, including people like Newt Gingrich. So that's one area where I think we can make a difference right away. We're going to have to do something about the deficit and the debt. And the problem is that historically, at least lately, there's been a lot of rhetoric on all sides that pretends that somehow we can have something for nothing, that we can, fund all our important programs, maintain our safety net, make sure Social Security and Medicare are safe, have a Defense Department that gets everything that it wants, and we don't end up having to pay for it. And that's going to be an area where I think we've got to have an honest conversation. I'm looking forward to Republicans and Democrats working together to actually solve the problem instead of trying to score political points.
Okay, again, I mean, education. The federal government cannot solve the problems in school districts. They can't. They're not close enough to the problem. Federal funding is part, of course, it's still our money, is part of the problem. Then the president talks about the debt. We don't get something for nothing. Really, Mr. President? What have you done about this debt? You passed a stimulus bill you didn't pay for. You passed a jobs bill you didn't pay for. You passed a banking bill, bailouts, health care. You haven't paid for a cent. And now you want to do something about the debt? How about we repeal everything you've done? There's a great way to reduce the deficit right there. Something for nothing. I can't believe he said that. Your whole presidency, Mr. Obama's been something for nothing. Everybody getting stuff for free. In other words, they're not paying, but somebody else is. That's a Democrat's definition of free.